Kevin Miner here, current council president. I'm just going to introduce the key three. To my right is Todd Lamison, Scout Executive, and to his right is Dennis Stewart, Council Commissioner. During our last Fireside chat, we spoke briefly about why Scouting is allowing girls to join Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. And here are some key items from that conversation. The hope is to remove barriers from families with sons and daughters to join Scouting. It's not intended to be a co-ed program. It is the same program as we're currently using. And it's up to the charter organization to decide if they will include girls. Just like that last Fireside chat, please use the chat feature on Zoom meeting to ask questions throughout the presentation. And David Lane is going to be monitoring the chat on our Zoom meeting at this end, and he'll determine the best time to bring those questions forward to the key three. Mississippi Valley Council believes girls joining Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts should be a grassroots effort, as there are many communities who are not ready to invite girls to their pack or create a girl troop. We will help anyone looking to recruit girls, but we are not going to strong arm any community into doing it.
Next, let's go over some of the key dates. I know that when we asked for survey questions, a lot of people were asking what dates or things actually happen. June 1st, 2018, girls can register and participate in Cub Scouts. So we'll get into exactly what that means for the Cub Scout program, but the first time that girls can participate in either Cub Scout or Boy Scout program will be June 1st of this year, and that will be just to join the Cub Scout program. Between June and August of 2018, Cub Scout materials are going to be released into the Scout Shop. So to note that, even though we can have girls start joining June 1st, National has told us that the supplies that are specific to the girls in Cub Scouting won't be coming out until June through August. So some of that stuff may not get out directly on June 1st. Next is January 2019. Updated materials for the Boy Scouts will come out to our Scout Shops. And lastly, February of 2019, girl troops may be formed.
Let's talk about some requirements and structure for girl troops and girl dens. Basic structures for Scouting is not changing. There are still charter organizations, committees, and unit leaders. There is no change in the required number of leaders. 2D leadership is required for outings. Cub Scout program will be the same. Lion, tiger, wolf, bear, bows and arrow light. Boy Scout program will be the same, starting at Scout through Eagle Scout. For the pack, girl dens of any size may be able to be added to the pack. Dens should be meeting separately for weekly meetings, and once a month, all dens gather together for a pack meeting, just like any normal pack. We know that several of our smaller packs all meet at the same time and place for their den meetings. You can still do this. However, you should not make the program co-ed. Instead, break the girls out and boys to different areas of the meeting location. Every den needs separate den leaders. This includes each girl den, i.e. a leader for the boys' wolf den and a leader for the girl wolf den. Pack meetings, pack camping, pack activities can all be family-based, including male Cub Scouts, female Cub Scouts, siblings, and parents, just like before. It is up to the charter organization if their pack will have just boy dens, just girl dens, or have both boy and girl dens. If there is not a pack available for girls to join, they may create a new pack with a minimum of 5 youth.
So for troops, the entire troop needs to be girls. A minimum of 5 girls is required to start a troop. One chartering organization may have multiple troops. This includes having a boy Scout troop and a girl troop as well. Each troop must have different scoutmasters. Recently, there was an added modified structure for a chartering organization to have a linked troop. In this scenario, the same chartering organization can have both a girl troop and a boy troop that share the same committee. However, it will still be required that they have their own individual scoutmasters. The linked troops may meet at the same location and the same time and have joint openings and closings. But the troop meetings themselves, the program part of the troop meetings themselves should still be separate and should not be done as co-ed.
We had some questions regarding 18 to 21-year-olds. I'll tell you honestly, this is something that comes up often in our scouting program, period. It's not just because of adding girls into it. So currently, 18 to 21-year-olds in Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts are adult leaders. Women and men who are 18 to 21 can only be assistant leaders. So for example, a 19-year-old female can only be an assistant den leader, or a 19-year-old boy can only be, 19-year-old male can only be an assistant Cub Master. On the troop level, that would mean an assistant Scout Master for the position. That's not changing. In venturing, exploring, narrow the arrow, they are considered adult participants. This was something that they've reworded some time ago. It's one of the reasons why now anybody from 18 to 21 needs to fill out an adult leader application and take youth protection. So anybody who's 18 to 21 in the exploring, venturing, order of the arrow is considered an adult participant. And that is also not changing. However, as we were preparing the material for this, and something I've not seen come out on the website yet for Family Scouting or announced in any other area except for an email to Scout executives, is that girl dens and girl troops need to have at least one female 21 or over registered as a leader or assistant leader. So one of the things I'll say about this is something forming and changing as we go. It's one of the reasons we didn't jump out to try to answer questions as soon as the program was announced, is because we wanted to learn what the program was really about. When it comes to our Boy Scout level of the program, it's going to take a little bit before we get all the right answers. But the most recent answer for girl troops and girl dens is that they have to have a 21 or over leader specifically for that den or troop. So an assistant den leader, or a Scout Master or assistant Scout Master. Some of the changes for our Scout Shop items and recruiting material that's coming up, female youth uniforms will be made. They'll be rolling out at the Scout Shop in those times that we already talked about. The co-ed recruitment material is available now. And you can find that information from the link on the website, or ask your district executive for help if you'd like to get your hands on some of that. The last thing is you're going to notice some changes in the Cub Scout program. These were done independently of the actual program changes with the girls. It's because the Lions program is now an official program. So these changes overall are relatively minor. We'll be going over those at program launch to go into more detail. But they include things like the Lion rank will no longer be doing stickers, they'll be doing belt loops. They changed the color from the Wolf program from yellow, because now the Lion neckerchief is yellow, and the Wolf neckerchief is now red, which actually has some historical value to it. So they've made some minor changes to include Lions, which that material will also be rolling out towards June through August timeframe.
Let's talk about summer camp, district activities, and joint troop activities. Cub Scout program has always allowed family camping. Some of our council activities have been Cub Scout based, but these can easily be changed to family camping. Therefore, there is no significant changes that are needed at the Cub Scout program level.
Currently, the Boy Scout program also calls for no changes. There are no additional rules or requirements for camping. Both boy and girl troops can participate in district and council offered activities and camp at the same time. They can also have joint outings just like now. We do see more information, or we expect to see more information, requirements and guidelines coming out in the near future. For now, there are no additional rules other than having a female leader over 21 registered with girl dens and girl troops. The first time we will need to deal with boy and girl troops at the same event will be the Spring Camporee in 2019. We will decide what is the best method to create a safe environment for our events in early 2019. We have had male and female youth at events, including summer camp, for decades with venturing, exploring, and summer camp staff.
Any questions?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
At least start them off. No,
All right.
the questions, just ask it.
Yeah. We believe that this has answered a lot of questions that we have asked via our survey. Are there any other questions out there that you have of the key three about family scouting?
At this time, if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and chat David Lane so we can see those questions. We'll also ask, we have one participant in person. So Cecil, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and just say them. You don't need to write them and bring them up to David Lane. So.
If a pack recruits a small amount of girls, are there any options for those girls to join existing dens that boys are in?
No. Girls must go ahead and be in their own dens, and the program is not meant to be co-ed. If you look at the frequently asked questions on the Family Scouting website, that question is actually directly asked. And I believe I basically gave you verbatim the answer that's on the national website for that. They have basically suggested that if you didn't have enough girls, which I think we do in some of our smaller packs for boys, you may have to go ahead and combine some girl dens together. So you might combine the lion and tiger den of girls together to get a critical mass to be able to run some activities. Maybe the wolf and bear den together for girls to run those critical activities.
I think they run a Schedule A and Schedule B program that you get copies of. Shows you how to blend the dens.
Mm-hmm.
What are the plans for the bathroom facilities at camp, since there are currently no facilities for both young women and adult women at this time?
Well, we actually do already have both adult and youth females at our camps at summer camp due to staff and at times due to venturing and other groups coming up. So currently we've been able to use the bathroom facilities that are up there by providing certain bathrooms for certain individuals. We've also had our Cub Scout camps come up and utilize the facilities also. Truth is, we've known that these facilities are just not good enough for a long time. And it has nothing to do with adding girls into the program. It has everything to do with the way that we've set them up and with the changes in society and things. So we are currently working on trying to upgrade our bathrooms at both facilities. So therefore they'd be a lot more individual stall situations. So therefore there are no longer female or male sides to the bathrooms. Instead, it would be a unisex bathroom. You get to close and lock the door behind yourself as you go in. So also help us with some of our younger scouts, our lion cubs. We've been noticing that when they need to change for going in the pool or taking care of other needs, that often they're not capable completely without at least a little help to do that. So that'll allow a family to go into a bathroom and allow a mom to go ahead and put a young boy's bathing suit on right side out or tie the knot for him or whatever's needed without having to worry about going back and forth between locker rooms or anything like that.
Has there been any clarification regarding the Order of the Arrow and youth females participation?
I'm not sure. I am not sure what's officially been announced, but all indications I've seen is that youth girls that are in troops will be considered to be a part of the same program that boys are in troops. So therefore, they would be eligible for the Order of the Arrow. I'm not sure if that's been written and put out, and it's 100% sure. However, I would say at this point, that seems to be the way things are leaning based off of the material that I've seen. When it comes to our Boy Scout program, I will say there's a we're still looking at Cub Scout information. And as I said, I just found out this week that one change about the girl dens needing 21-year-old female leaders. I assume that when it comes to the Boy Scout end of things, as we get towards the end of this year, you'll start seeing a lot more information flowing out. So we're going to give you a lot of indications in your questions about Boy Scouts, probably more so than direct answers.
Do there need to be at least 5 girls in order to allow them to start a program?
If they want to start a Boy Scout program, there needs to be at least 5 girls. If they want to start a den, you only need 1 girl in an existing pack to start a den, just like you only need 1 boy to be able to start a den. On the other hand, if you want to start a complete pack from scratch, you need at least 5 youth to do so. There are exceptions for troops to start with less than 5. Normally it's based off of religious restrictions and groups that don't have enough of a population to bring in at least 5 youth. So if it's an extremely rural area and there's not enough population, there can be conversations held to see what can be done for that. So if for some reason there's 3 girls or 4 girls and there's a good reason behind it, I would suggest you see the district executive, and then we can try to work with you. However, the basic rule is that it needs to be at least 5 to start a youth. One of the other things I to note that I keep hearing questions about is leadership. Just like if you were adding boys to a pack or a troop, we strongly suggest that you get as much leadership from the parents as possible. In fact, we suggest that every parent in some way volunteers. So when it comes to adding girls to a pack, especially when they start talking about girl dens and separate leaders, you're going to want to look at their parents to be able to step up and take on some additional responsibilities and leadership. I would strongly suggest you do not start adding girls into the program or boys in the program if you cannot go ahead and find the leadership to do so. We need to have a good, solid program with the right trained leaders in order to make sure that the program is, the youth are getting what they deserve out of that program. So for those of you with questions of how we're going to get the adult leadership, I think you need to go back to those parents and let them know that they have a responsibility to be involved. There's no other questions. You guys have any other comments about the program before we?
I'm looking forward to it.
I know.
Looking forward to talking to the commissioners, making sure that they stay in contact with the units to make sure that they're doing things correctly, so that things go forward smoothly.
I would just say, really from past experience, we've had a lot of sisters, some mostly younger sisters, but some older sisters that have wanted to be involved because they see the things that their brothers get to do in scouting, and they get to participate on the fringe as a Cub Scout. But in general, by the time those girls got to 14, their interest had been, they had other interests. And I think some of that was because they had to make a choice and scouting wasn't one of the options for them. I know at least 6 or 8 girls from West Burlington that would have been in scouting as a in Cub Scouts if they could have. So I think it's going to be a great thing. I think we're going to see a lot more sisters especially get involved in it. And it really is family scouting. That's the idea, is to get everybody involved, not just so much girls. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do with it.
It's a great opportunity. Great opportunity.
The other thing is, I would say we get a lot of questions about how is the program going to work, and I have a hard time answering it because it's going to work the same way, at least as far as I can tell at this point, the same way that it's always worked. We do have some particular ways to address adding girls, which is they're suggesting not to be co-ed and keep those programs separate, but either being at the den level or at the troop level. But once you roll back up to the pack level, your Pinewood Derby is going to be the same as it was. It will be your choice, just like it's always been, on what categories you make. And if you make it all first graders that compete at one time, that's fine. If you make it by den, that's fine. If you make it by all kids that have a last name, of A through L to start, that's fine. It's always been your choice, and it's going to continue to be. So if you look at the program as its basics of, what's been your choice before, I think overwhelmingly it's going to stay that way, and that packs and troops will be able to make good decisions on how to make their program work specific to the facilities they meet at, as well as the number of youth they have, as well as the number of leadership that they have, and as far as the charting organization that they're doing. So from my point of view, there's not a lot of change that's going to be involved here from a structural standpoint or from a rule-based standpoint. The change is going to come from common sense and creating good rules by each individual unit that's going to work for them. All right, well, thank you everybody for taking your time and logging in. If there's any other questions, you're always welcome to ask. The other thing I'd say is that our program launch, we'll probably get some more information before then and definitely have another session to talk about the Cub Scouting, girls and Cub Scouting at that time. And if anything major breaks on girls and Boy Scouts, we'll probably add that as a session also.
Todd, will there be a fall roundup, like August or something like that, for girls, or is it just gonna just flow normal?
We're gonna do our normal roundup, and we're gonna talk to individual units. If the unit wants us to help recruit girls, we'll go ahead and help recruit girls. If the unit's focused on providing the best program to the boys for this year, then we'll go ahead and focus on recruiting boys. So that will be something towards the program launch. We're gonna take some surveys and ask. Each unit's Cub Scout unit's gonna need to tell us what their goal is as far as having girls involved or not. Great.
All right,
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good
If you have
night.
more questions, we'll be signing off.
Thank you.